Many times we don't even know who we really are.
The quantum space, is that the same as subconscious reprogramming of your mind?
I think the biggest thing when it comes to energy healing is the intention.
If someone wants to vibrate at a higher frequency, what are some things that they can do?
So the quantum field is basically what is everything beyond that 95%. I don't really dream.
What? You don't dream?
I don't really dream. So neurolinguistics programming is really about understanding how we process the world.
It's actually mind-blowing. Welcome to Call Me Didi. I'm your host Diva.
And I'm your host Sanchi, and let's get into today's episode. Today we have Andrea from Brisbane with us on the podcast.
Thank you, Diva and Sanchi, for having me here on your podcast. I am so excited for the conversation that we're going to have today.
Thank you so much for coming on, Andrea. I'm going to quickly introduce Andrea for anyone who doesn't know her. Andrea Fung is a former lawyer turned quantum performance strategist for ambitious professionals and soulful entrepreneurs ready to lead from alignment and not burnout. So thank you for coming on. My first question to you is, how are you, but in life?
I am doing amazing. 2025 so far has been a year of amazing collaborations. It's been a year of new experiences that is like a call to rise, a call to expand more of who I am. So they're growing pains, but it's a beautiful, beautiful grand adventure. What about the both of you?
No one's really asked us this in any of our podcasts, so I think we're good. I think for us as well, it's been a year of expansion, much like yours. We set an intention to go to different cities this year and do events and meet amazing people like yourself, and that plan is coming to fruit. And we did Melbourne, we're here in Brisbane, and it's actually been incredible. We've met some incredible people here.
So it's feeling like we're going after what we want, and like it's coming to life. It's very beautiful to see that.
And it is surreal sitting here listening to intelligent, smart, go-getter young girls create a positive impact in this world right now. I just want you to know that, and I want to acknowledge that.
Oh,
Thank you so much. That is so lovely of you. I want to pass on a compliment to you as well, that your energy has been so lovely ever since you walked through the door. So I'm really excited to get into this podcast.
Let's do it. And thank you.
Yes. Now, we did use some big words in the bio. We said a quantum performance strategist. Can you tell our listeners what that may be?
So the work that I do is about helping you achieve peak performance, but to do it sustainably in spite of the internal and external pressure, and to do it without burnout and without sacrificing emotional and mental well-being. And so many performance strategists or coaches out there in the corporate spaces, they focus on external behavior, and they focus on the 5% of the conscious mind. But working in the quantum field, we're going into the subconscious mind, which takes up 95% of all of our behaviors. When we talk about the quantum field, we're talking about the field of infinite possibilities. We're talking about the electromagnetic field of our beings. So that's the work that I actually go into. And so when we clear any kind of distortions from that actual field, just naturally your overall vibration, which translates into your overall behaviors, would just shift. And that's the deep work.
I'm actually very curious to understand, how did you get into this? Because you were a lawyer before this, and this is a very, very different field to being a lawyer. I'm very, very curious to understand what sparked that inspiration in you to go after this.
Depression. I know, right? So I think you girls will be able to relate to this. I grew up in that strict Southeast Asian family, and you're either a professional or you're absolutely nothing at all. And so I thought to myself, I've always kind of thought to myself that surely we can't possibly we're not meant to be spending more than half our lives working in a job that makes us unhappy, right? But I think because I just didn't know any better, I didn't know anything about personal development, I didn't know anything about energy work, I knew nothing. So at the end of 2020, I was, pandemic, sitting at home working, having so much time to myself, not being able to do all the things that made me happy. I realized I cannot stop lying to myself that law is not it, but I didn't know what exactly was it for me. And that was quite scary, because it's one thing if you know what you want to do and you're not going for it, but it's another thing if you have a really stable life and you have everything, and yet you're feeling miserable and you don't know what to do, where to go. And so it got to a point where I just thought, if I stay here, I will 100% be miserable. But if I just take my chances out there, I might hit something. So I decided to become like a bikini social media influencer when I first left law. Like, talk about swinging to the furthest end of the spectrum.
Wow, we didn't know this. That's cool.
I know. And I just thought, look, because it was in my mind the furthest thing. It was in an act of defiance to everything that I was taught and the way I was brought up. And I wanted to go to the far ends, because if you go to the far ends of every boundary, if you really push your edges, then everything in between gets to be your playground. And that's what I wanted. And so I did that, and through following just what brought me joy at any given moment, and that was the commitment that I had set to myself. I was only going to do what brought me joy. And I was going to take it as far as I could reasonably go. And I was going to do it with zero attachment to the outcome. And so, as you know, with lawyers, we have to have certainty. We don't do vulnerability. We have to know the entire yellow brick road to the Emerald City. But this was not the path that I was going to choose. I was just going to choose the step exactly right in front of me. So that was what I did. And that took me to being a social media manager, a digital nomad coach, which tanked completely, by the way. And then I randomly got a job out of nowhere to be a mindset and performance coach. And then next thing you know, I hired a trance channeler, and I had an experience of theta healing. And that took me down the energy healing path. And then a year later, I decided to let go of my business. And then 2 years later, here I am. Combining everything, calibrating everything of what I know, everything of my experience, and everything that I am, to now do this work and bring this work into sterile corporate spaces.
That is a hell of a journey.
Yes, it is.
Like, how did your parents react to when you told them that, oh, you're not going to be a lawyer anymore and now you're going to be a bikini social media person?
Oh my gosh, Sanchi. When I told them, I was so scared. I had my best friend there with me to back me up, and they were just like, why don't you stay with your job? Like, what is this social media influencing? Like, you need to get a real job. All of us can resonate with having parents like that, right? When you're going to get a real job? But I just knew that I could not do law anymore, because I had actually quit law once after my first 3 years. Then I went traveling the world, like, the UK, South America, hoping to find career inspiration. Found everything but the one thing that I was looking for. And so after the second time, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I have to follow what feels right for me at that given moment. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I just have to trust it. I can't follow what is expected of me anymore.
Kudos to you for, like, telling yourself that I'm going to listen to myself and not anybody else around me. Because I know for a fact that when everybody around you is trying to tell you to be a certain way and do things the certain way, and all you want to be authentic to yourself, it takes massive courage to push that back and just do what you want to do.
You're absolutely right. And the courage comes, the reason it takes so much courage is also because of the way we were conditioned, right? With all values and beliefs and conventions, traditions imposed on us. Many times we don't even know who we really are. And part of the courage that, in taking those steps is wanting and having that intention and the willingness to go and brave that journey to find who you are. And I think that's the part that is probably the most scariest, because what will you find?
100%. And I feel like the older you get, it's scarier to take that leap of faith. Like when you're in your early 20s, you have a lot of time to experiment. And there is never a bad time. Like, you know, you want to do it at 80, do it at 80. But I think as, you know, you get older and older, all of these expectations of you need to be doing this and at this life stage, it just gets harder to follow through on what you want. So yeah, that's amazing for you to do that.
Oh, thank you, Diva. Thank you. I received that with grace and happiness.
Oh. But let's talk a little bit about, you know, the quantum space. Is that the same as subconscious reprogramming of your mind?
The subconscious reprogramming of the mind. Okay, so we know that we have the physical body, the spiritual body, the emotional body, and we have the spiritual body, right? And so a lot of when people say the subconscious mind, we're also actually talking about the way our body works. It's just that we only access 5% of that. And isn't that quite fascinating? That everything that we know, everything that we have created in our life is actually based on that 95%, but we only tuned into the 5%. So the quantum field is basically what is everything beyond that 95%. You know, how far can we push the edges of consciousness? And if people were to ask, how do you access that consciousness? I'll do this thing with Deepak Chopra. So I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, I'm going to ask you, are you enjoying this conversation?
Yes.
Okay, and now I'm going to ask you a question again. And now you're not going to answer it until I raise my hand. Are you enjoying this conversation?
Yes.
Okay, and that space in between the thought of yes, and in between me asking that question, that is the consciousness. It's that stillness. It's that portal to your multidimensional self. This is the space where people connect to the higher self and people talk to their spirit guides. This is the quantum field.
So how do you work on this to help people remove the blocks that they might have in their life?
That's a really, really good question, because that is exactly the work that I do. So the way I like to do things is I like to get people to create distance between them and their thoughts, because we're very busy, right? We're very, very busy. You're very busy. We are constantly on our phones. Are we not attached to our emails, our calendars, and even when we're not, because we are so used to that cortisol hit that we're doom scrolling, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Oh my gosh, that is the absolute worst. And so we are so connected, and we don't ever have that stillness and time and space within us. And so what I do is I like to help people just be comfortable with being who they are. If I were to ask you to just sit there for half an hour, how would both of you feel? In all honesty.
Every morning. I do it every morning. I cannot even tell you. See?
She does it every morning.
Like, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. every morning just so I could make my own chai and sit in peace. Because I absolutely love to just sit and think. Think about my life, think about my thoughts, be present with myself, no phones allowed, nothing allowed at that time. It's a time that makes me so energized that if I don't do it one day, I can't. It's really hard for me to be productive or like feel good that day, because that time is so like precious. It's so pure. It's so sacred to me that I love that time with myself that I get, and it has helped me through everything that I've like been able to overcome in the past year as well. Because I was able to understand what I'm going through. I was able to be conscious about my thoughts. I was able to write them out no matter what I was feeling, good, bad, ugly. I would write everything down on a paper and not judge those thoughts. Just write them down so it comes out of my head.
Yes, and that is the power of being in that stillness, is because you're no longer identifying really with the thoughts in your head. You're no longer judging it. You're just being, and being okay with whatever comes up. And I can say that is really, really scary for many people. Because so many things might come up. It's going to be, I need to be doing something. Oh my gosh, what is my mom going to think about me? Oh my gosh, I'm not making enough money. And no one wants to deal with that kind of discomfort. Whereas if you're able to be with yourself and allow all of that to come up, you're expanding your nervous system. You're expanding your capacity to be more, to hold more. And when you do that, you get to do more as a result of being more. You are more energized, you are more focused, you are more centered throughout the day. And nothing really phases you anymore because you know that you are anchored in your own peace. And that foundation is not something that anyone could take away from you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. All right, so someone has taken time out for themselves, let's say half an hour a day. Any actions that they should do after that? Let's say there's a listener who's like, actually, I think there are, these thoughts that, well, again, this is how I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong. There are things from my childhood or things that I have, just through social media, I have just taken in and have made it a reality for myself, but I want to work on it. Like, for example, money blocks, right? Mm-hmm. How does somebody then go and work on it, recognizing that they need to work on their subconscious mind and their thoughts there?
That's a really great question, Diva. And so I think the first thing that I would say is sit down in silence and write down all the thoughts that come up, all the feelings that come up. And out of every single thing that you've written, you will read through every single one and see which of those thoughts have the highest charge. Because I can say that, I don't make enough money, or I can say that I don't spend enough time with my family, for example. And out of one or two of those, they will be different charges. And so based on after that, you will actually really know which one is it that you want to work on. And then it's about making that inquiry. Where did that thought actually come from? Who gave it to you? Whose voice does it sound like? How does it make you feel? How do you want to proceed from here? Do you want to release it? And if so, look into it. How can you release it? You can go to a coach, you can go to an energy healer. There are so many ways to actually do it. There are so many resources on YouTube to actually do it as well. And the reason I say all these methods, it's because there is no one method to actually do it. If I were to share my method, which is I just go meditate, I go into my heart space, I go into which particular chakra it is that holds that particular belief, that particular charge. I bring in Saint Germain's violet flame, I clear it, and then I'm done, I'm good to go. But there are different methods, and different methods suit different people. So it's allowing yourself to find and explore what works for you.
What other methods? You mentioned energy healing. Mm-hmm. Is that to do with crystals? And I'm so sorry. This space is quite new to me, so I'm just really curious. Like, what are the different things that people can do? Because a lot of people attempt journaling, for example, and it doesn't work for them. A lot of people do take the time out and write, and well, maybe on the flip side of it, if they just gave it 30 full undivided minutes every single day, maybe something would work. But is there anything else that they can do in terms of methods?
I think the biggest thing when it comes to energy healing is the intention. For example, I journal just to brain dump, just to kind of clear the mind, but that's just the mind, right? Any kind of belief system or any kind of dense emotion that then results to a dense belief and then results in dense, unhealthy, let's say, behavior. It's stuck in your actual energy field. So how do you lift it? So for example, one of the things before I continue, a lot of it sometimes is probably just something that we also pick up on from other people, from the person at the bus stop, the person at Woolworths or something. And sometimes all it takes is to sit down, close your eyes, and just set the intention to release all energy, attachments, densities, vibration that is not mine. And then just allow the energy to leave. And that in itself is already really, really powerful as a starting point. And another way is really the way I like to do it is just to really sit in meditation and call in the right energies. See, this is the thing. It requires learning certain modalities to be able to do it effectively yourself. It's not to say that it can't be done, but to do it effectively and do it properly, it would be best to either have someone facilitate that for you, facilitate that release, or find a way to do it yourself to an extent and allow it to go, to lift.
That's very interesting. You mentioned NLP, that you're an NLP practitioner. Can you tell our listeners what exactly NLP is and how does that work?
Okay, so neuro-linguistics programming is really about understanding how we process the world. So 3 of us, we could look at a train wreck and we are going to pick up different things from that train wreck, and we're going to interpret based on what we pick up. We're going to interpret that train wreck in a different way. Maybe you're going to see the little kid somewhere to the side, and maybe what you're going to see is the complete wreckage of the train, and maybe what I'm going to see is the camel at the very back. And so we process things differently based on the way we take in information. We take in information through the 5 senses, right? Maybe what you actually take in more is what you hear. Maybe what I take in more is how it made me feel. And maybe what you take in more is what you actually see. And so NLP is about understanding how is it that you process all the information coming in and rewriting the narrative, changing the subconscious mind through conscious activity. So all of the processes that we go through in NLP, whether it's anchoring or timeline therapy or whatever it is, it requires the active conscious participation of the person that you are facilitating. Whereas in theta healing or origin activation, any kind of energy healing, all you have to do is be in a calm state, and then the facilitator will just do the work in the field. So that's the difference with NLP and the rest.
So if I'm someone, for example, who has some money blocks, for example, and it stems from maybe my childhood a little bit, because everybody around me would think that money is not an abundant thing, it's scarce to go around. So what are some of the techniques you think that I can do by myself at home to release those money blocks?
I think for that, to do by yourself at home, EFT tapping is really good. That is something that a lot of people that I know, if they were to do it themselves, and there's so many resources online to find what are the correct affirmations that show you where exactly to tap. That is really, really great. Another one that I'm a personal fan of is writing a letter to money, detailing everything that you want to say about money. Like, I hate you, why are you not supporting me? Everything that you want to write. If you could write a letter, uncensored, unfiltered to money, what would that be? And then after that, an option could be you could write a letter to yourself from money. And that letter could look like, but I've always been here. You just don't want to notice it. Or I'm waiting for you to come and claim me, but you need to have this degree first, or you need to get your parents' permission first. Something along those lines. And then after that, you write a 3rd letter to money, detailing in response to that letter that money wrote to you, saying, but this time it's going to be a more empowering letter. It's, okay, I set the intention to do this. We are now going to have a great relationship. We are going to be absolute best friends because money, you're not just here to support me, you are me and I am you. There is no disconnection. And then that letter, you can maybe bury it in like a flower pot and water it.
I have goosebumps just thinking about that. That's actually beautiful. And I guess that could apply to really any blocks that you have, right? Like if you have a block with confidence or maybe love in your life.
Anything with confidence or self-love, I guess that one you won't be writing to money anymore. You'd be writing to yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
That's amazing. I do want to ask a question. So I'll ask the question, but let me know your thoughts.
Okay.
A lot of people say that your dreams are a reflection of your subconscious mind. Is that true, or what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I will admit this one is going to be a hard one for me to answer because I don't really dream.
What? You don't dream?
I don't really dream. Or if I do dream, I forget it the moment I wake up. So to my conscious awareness, I have not dreamt at all. I just went into a darkness and then I woke up. So in that sense, I cannot say that I can answer, but I know of people who are very highly sensitive, whether they're channelers or they're deep in the energetic space. Many of their guides, not just like subconscious, their guides, their how would I say, their spiritual avatars, let's say, the different versions of their soul access and come and tell them and give them a particular message in their dreams. So we could say that the subconscious mind does give you messages, but we could also say that all the other beings or all the other frequencies in the quantum field come in to give you messages via your dreams as well.
Very interesting. I have a question around frequencies in general.
Yes.
You mentioned something that you're about to start a section where you'll talk about frequency of joy and talk people through it. Can you tell us a little bit more about what does frequency exactly mean?
Okay. So on a subatomic level, we are 99.99999% energy. If you look into our cells, even though it seems like we are all matter and we get to touch ourselves, but actually, if you look at it at the cellular level, it is a lot of empty space. And what is that empty space? That empty space is energy. It is energy that we get to actually manipulate from the field. And so, when I say the frequency of joy, what I mean to say is that means that on a metaphysical aspect, and also I could say scientific aspect as well, according to Dr. David Hawkins, every thought, every emotion has a particular frequency. So for example, if I am feeling a lot of shame, for example, because I'm not a millionaire at this point, or because I left a stable career in law, I would be operating at a lower frequency of shame, potentially guilt, potentially grief. So that means that the way I view the world is going to be very much from a place of victimhood, right? But then if I am to say that, I really, really love this life, I am actually so happy to be here being interviewed by two amazing girls, visionaries, I would be operating at a much higher frequency. My thought and my emotions that are directed in that is operating at a much higher frequency. And so imagine carrying that kind of frequency, having those thoughts, those emotions, that way of being that is at that high level of, at the very least, from courage onwards, going up to, what was the next one? Like neutrality, going to love, to joy. Imagine operating in the world from that frequency, right? And according to the laws of resonance and the laws of vibration, anyone or anything that comes into your reality has to be a match to your frequency. So if I am operating at the frequency of victimhood, then I am going to have a reality that mirrors that back to me.
Yes.
And so it's very easy to see when you ask someone, what's happening in your reality? And they will tell you a bunch of things. Oh, this thing is good, that thing is not good, this thing is good, that thing is not good. And overall, you can roughly tell what frequency, what dominant frequency they're operating in. And you should, look into the scale of consciousness. It is powerful stuff.
I agree with you. If someone wants to vibrate at a higher frequency, what are some things that they can do?
If someone wants to vibrate at a higher frequency, number one, they would have to be incredibly honest with themselves about where they're not vibrating at a high frequency. And number two is just to really understand what are their internal blocks, what are the limiting beliefs that they actually carry about themselves, and allow themselves to dissect, to look into that and the origins of that. And number three would really be to set the intention to release all of that, and take those difficult aligned steps to go and do something about raising their vibration, into basically releasing the limiting beliefs down to a cellular level so that they can operate from a new way of being. And this is not something where you jump from, shame to courage right away. A lot of the time, and this is the thing that I think people don't realize, they can just sit in healing circles and they assume that it's done. A lot of the time, the jump happens by taking the scariest action that you can take at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that could mean quitting your job. And that could mean becoming a bikini social media influencer. That could mean creating this event interstate and hoping that people are going to turn up, right?
Yeah. I do have a question around that. So, around that, do you see a commonality between the people who come and work with you and who need this direction in their life?
It's really interesting because normally the people who come to work with me, they're relatively aware, like they know where they're stuck, and they just generally don't have the energy, or they just need someone else to come and facilitate that release. Yeah. I haven't worked with anyone who is not quite aware in a long time. My clients are usually people who, they're go-getters basically. They want to perform. They want to be high in productivity. They want to get to where they want to go. They want to pursue their dreams. But something is kind of just holding them back, and they just need a bit of a nudge. And those are the people that I usually work with. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So if someone is, for example, feeling stuck in their life, how do they identify what is holding them back?
If they're feeling really stuck in their life, I guess it would be to find out, number one, which area of life that they think that they're feeling stuck in. Because a lot of the times, the reason that they think that they're stuck is actually not the reason that they think that they're stuck. So, for example, I could say that I could say, I wish that I could be losing more weight, for an example. And then when I really dig deeper into it, when I go into my meditation, I realize that I'm not able to lose that weight because I'm afraid of being seen. So the more I put on that weight, the more insecure I'm going to feel about myself. And the more insecure I'm going to feel about the way I look, I'm not going to put myself out there. Even if the reason that I'm putting myself out there is for work and not for weight at all. Does that help with giving you an example?
Yeah. So it's like very deep rooted, and they're connected in some sort of manner, and you don't exactly know where it's stemming from. So
Yes.
when you think that you're stuck, for example, in money, but that's not really the case, maybe you dig deeper and you understand, maybe I am just scared of my abilities to manage money well, for example, that if it comes in my life, then I feel like I will spend it all and not use it to improve my life.
That's a great example. Or potentially if they have the money, they'll be like, then people are not going to, the people that I'm connected with, my friendships or my family, they're not going to like me anymore. Maybe they're going to be jealous of me. And if they're jealous of me, they will leave me and I'll be alienated and ostracized. That's another reason. I had another client, she was struggling just to write her CV. Okay, this is a client this was when I was doing mindset work, not even the quantum work. She was doing mindset work, and she's now moved from Thailand to Melbourne, quit her job and got a job earning 6 figures at Disney Plus. Like, she's got the dream, like 6 months later. So it was really quite amazing. And at the time that we started working together, she was struggling just to write her CV. How hard can it be to write a CV? It's not. And upon digging deeper into why that is, what she said was like, I think, I've never actually been complimented in my life. So because she's never been complimented in her life, it's just been loved. She has got a great family who loves her, but she's never ever been complimented or praised in her life. And because she's never been complimented or praised in her life, she doesn't know how to compliment and praise herself in a CV, because you have to make your CV is about making yourself look good, right? talking up your skills, talking up who you are, your qualities and traits. And she just could not bring herself to write this CV because she just didn't know how to compliment herself.
That is very interesting.
Yes.
Right.
It's actually mind-blowing. And I think it's going to make a lot of people think a lot about their internal blocks and why that may be. Something that has helped me is, getting therapy, because not so much like, yeah, sure, you can have a neurological condition which needs to be diagnosed, but it also gives you a space to talk to someone where the professional's job is, one, to not judge you, and it's just a place where the conversation will never leave.
Yes.
So, and when you verbalize things which are in your mind, it almost starts making sense for you. So I guess that's another action that people can take to start realizing where the blocks reside. And the more they talk about it, sometimes you internally then understand, oh, this is where it's coming from. And then obviously all the, amazing steps that you provided that they can take as well. Are there any books or resources that people can read where they can learn more about subconscious reprogramming and neuro-linguistic programming that you would recommend for our listeners?
Ooh, that's a great question. And first and foremost, I want to say I really applaud you for going to therapy. I think more people need to be willing to accept the fact that therapy is very helpful as opposed to seeing it as a point of shame. Some of my best friends go to therapy, and I think their lives have improved so much just to have that safe space, that is non-judgmental, just to talk about how they feel, feelings that might not be accepted by their families or even some of their friends. So I love that you are doing that, and thank you for sharing that. Therapy is such complementary work to, quantum healing and all of that. So when it comes to resources, my favorite book is basically The Scale of Consciousness by David Hawkins. Letting Go, also a book by David Hawkins, is phenomenal, because so much of the work that I do is about, when we talk about optimizing internal architecture and clearing internal blocks, it's about letting go. It's about what are you willing also to let go. Any book by Joe Dispenza, so for example, Becoming Supernatural, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, that is a phenomenal book. So those 4 books I would highly, highly recommend.
So Breaking the Habit
of Being Yourself, Becoming Supernatural, those 2 by Joe Dispenza, Letting Go by David Hawkins, and The Scale of Consciousness, also by David Hawkins, those 4.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I guess to sort of close the episode, I do want to ask you if there was one advice that you could give to your younger self, knowing everything you know today, that girl who's working in law, who's gone for her trip and who's come back and who still is struggling and is like, well, I didn't get my answers, what would you tell her?
So this would be Andrea, end of 2017. I would say, Andy, my love, you have to follow your joy. Follow what brings you joy, even if it makes 0 sense. But if you can take that step and just follow the breadcrumbs without projecting too far into the future, you will get to where you need to go. And whilst at the same time also honor the soul that honor the journey that your soul came here to have, because it's a wild, divine adventure, and you're not gonna ever guess where you're going to end up 4 years later.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, she's got tears in her eyes.
Oh, Sanchi.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much. It was beautiful to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for anybody who wants to connect with you and work with you, where can they find you?
The best place to find me is on LinkedIn, Andrea Fung. The first tagline is ex-lawyer turned quantum performance strategist. No one else has that. That much I know. I was going to say Instagram, but I haven't been on there that much. So Facebook, LinkedIn, or my website, www.andreafung.com.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Andrea. It's been so incredible having you. For all our listeners, if you want to connect with Andrea, please go find her. She's told you where you can find her. And if you're watching this, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and share this with someone that you think it can help. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.